Hello, and welcome to my channel. Thank you for tuning in. It really means a lot to me. If you're new to my channel, welcome. You can go and check out my other videos that I've done, that I've uploaded, some face-to-face chats, and also some kind of podcasts. Today, I had a minute and I was in a mood. I was in the zone. I was feeling quite creative, actually, and when you get a little bit of energy and a little bit of energy kind of comes through. If you're an artist, you probably know what that feels like. It doesn't come very often, but when it does, it's very nice. It's like the rain pours and you've got like seconds to minutes to act on that energy and make something happen with it. A lot of surfing analogies I kind of like these days. I see surfing memes. And I kind of think, oh, maybe that's me kind of waiting, on a surfboard, waiting for the wave, waiting for the high, looking for a good opening. And then I catch the wave of energy or inspiration that day. Maybe the planets are in alignment and something kind of happens. And then I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing something. It's very up and down, by the way. If you are a Sagittarian, you've probably seen the title of this podcast. So I'm going to make a promise to you now before I get started that this will be very heavy, and I'm not going to kind of sugarcoat the fuck out of this. It is very a candid chat of me kind of explaining the Sagittarian and understanding it on a level that I understand it within myself. Being one and having 3 placements in this sign is absolutely not easy. Okay? A lot of you may know that astrology, or your natal chart, is basically a kind of crux of your soul. It is the blueprint of who you are, of all of the components of who you are. And being so interested in the occult and interested in spirituality and philosophy, anthropology and science and pseudoscience and all of these things that a Sagittarian would be interested in anyway, it absolutely blows my mind. I can't believe it that we have so many people living in this world that really live in the physical world but can't or won't or don't want to, or maybe they just don't have the fucking bandwidth to actually look at the forces, the unseen forces behind things, of what actually makes this world the way it is. God, understanding God. That's why a lot of Christians, a lot of religious people absolutely despise any level of astrology, because they see it as someone trying to hack God or trying to understand the mysteries of the universe. And that's only for God to know, or for priests to know. And there's some darkness in a lot of that. The construct of a priest is clearly some kind of aristocratic or authoritarian system where someone has been deemed a higher level of connection or closeness to God, and therefore the people, they have to go to the church and go through him to get to God. And if you're a Sagittarian like me, and you can see that would be a problem, because if you haven't noticed, most humans are simply just not honest. I will try and speak slowly at the moment, because it's probably best that I do, because I cover a lot of ground and I say a lot of very heavy things, or things that might kind of be like a dot point of a story, or like a doorway to another corridor. And having this level of placement within the Sagittarian, I was compelled to want to share this information today, kind of a little bit like Pandora's box. And that's why I was like, how can I be as authentic to myself as possible while being of service to other people and putting something out there like this in the world that might be able to help someone. It's definitely not easy. And I think that's the hardest part about being an artist is the job of an artist isn't to give the people what they want. It's to give the people what they need. So there is a higher purpose in the creator being. And I mean, what could be more of a creative sign than a Sag? And of course, the job of an artist is to take a concept or a story or a truth and showcase that in a way where you take something from the world, kind of like a magpie, and then you blend that with a craft or some level of your artisan skill, and then you bring that to the world, back to the world. So it's kind of like this mirroring of the world that goes on. There's a lot of mirroring that goes on within me. And I will say, like when I was younger, I was in my teenage years, I was utterly like the golden retriever. A lot of young Sagittarians are very retriever-like, very bouncy, very jumpy, very naive, I guess you could say. And I think that being naive is actually a very dangerous thing because you haven't really woke up to the darkness and the dangers of the world. And you're living in this kind of bubble that sees things as like the good in people. A lot of Jupiter placement in a chart, in a person, a lot of that Sagittarian Jupiter energy is very optimistic and can be a little bit overly friendly and overly share too much. And I know it's a lot of, I used to do that a lot, kind of overshare or say things that would make people kind of double look at you or freak out. And it's not easy. You know, this is absolutely not an easy placement to have. I do have a friend actually who has a triple placement in Gemini. And I mean, if you've got any level of Gemini placement that's like doubled or quadrupled, or any sign for that matter on any level of your chart, you're definitely going to need something around you in your external world, or a friendship that's very tight, or a partner, like a life partner, a husband or wife that really balances you out and creates a very peaceful place for you, that where you can become more peaceful. Because I have been very unpeaceful within myself for a long time. And I have those moments of extreme violence and rage and very primal times when I'm very much like that. And, the saying goes, you have to understand violence and your own force to be able to wield that in a world where you can be gentle and be kind and be somewhat passive. Because an undisciplined mind is a very dangerous thing, particularly if it's a fire sign or an air sign. Because air signs and fire signs, they have a lot of oomph to them. You can hear my voice right now. This is what a Sagittarius voice sounds like. It's deep, it's clear, and it has a bit of a boom to it. Right now, mind you, I'm keeping my voice slightly down, even though it may not sound like it. I can yell. I have a yell on me. I have a very loud voice. So when it comes to a Sagittarian in general, you probably would hear their laugh or their sound of their voice before you even see them. You can hear a Sagittarian in an office building from right down the other end of the office. Okay, there's just an absolute volcano inside of them. All right. And it's really quite incredible. And if this is the secret right now, like that I'm giving you straight off the bat, if a Sagittarius can get in alignment with their passion and their life's purpose and find some level of peace and cohesion with that, then that's the Sagittarius that you really want to be around. Sagittarians are very, very restless. Okay, there's a restlessness to them, just like the Gemini. They may say that they want a loving, caring, monogamous, stable, dependable, reliable relationship because this sounds virtuous to them and it sounds like, the highest energy that you can get in the tarot, which is like one of the major arcana cards, which is the Temperance card, which is the Sagittarius card, which is this kind of balance. That's what Sagittarius ultimately needs, is balance. Sagittarians, now take out your pens if you need to get this written down, and if you please, I'm going to just jump into some dot points here, okay? Sagittarians tend to learn the most from the sign before them and the sign after them. All right. And of course, so for example, Sagittarius needs to learn balance from Libra. That's why Libra and Sagittarians do well. Okay. Because Libra helps balance the excessivity or the excessiveness of a Sagittarian, which is always more, bigger, stronger, harder, better. So Sagittarians are not generally minimalists. They're maximalists. They have everything within their mind, or they have everything within their house. So physically, lots of different bits and pieces of things from all over the world, because Sagittarians see the world as their home. They don't see like one thing as their home. That's why it's so difficult. And I'm owning this now, saying it. It would be so difficult to date me because there's so many multiple facets to my personality, to my intellectualism, to my spirituality, much like the Gemini. It's a Rubik's Cube that's always adjusting and moving and rotating. And like Gemini, a lot of Gemini energy in the Sagittarius, we've talked about in previous videos, they crisscross. So a lot of that not wanting to be understood vibe comes into Sagittarius. Okay. Now, the title that I want to give this podcast is Sagittarius, the animal, the beast, the monster, the human, and the angelic being or the angel. I thought this would be a fitting title for this podcast and this kind of real chat because within me, I definitely hold all of those parts of me. And it is me wanting to be vulnerable and truthful enough to just tell the fucking truth and just say it in a podcast or just tell someone to their face. Generally, Sagittarians, there's usually, I'll get onto that in a sec, but generally you'll find there's two types of Sagittarians. One is the kind of growing pain Sag, which is a dog at the park that needs to sniff everything else at the park kind of thing. And they do exaggerate in their storytelling. And then the other side of the Sag is a more well-rounded and truth teller or a storyteller. So sitting around a campfire with a beard and a staff, kind of like Merlin or Gandalf, that type of energy, or a teacher, that type of energy is generally where Sagittarians end up as they mature, and they went through the puppy phase, they went through the wild phase, and then they mellow into the philosophical phase. So Sagittarius, before they were given the symbol or the archetype of the the centaur, which is half man, half horse. Before that, Sagittarius was half satyr, half kind of goat, or the god Pan. Think of Pan with like the flute and the kind of excessive wine drinking and lots of sex, very primal. The lower astral part of the human is the bestial or carnal parts of what Sagittarius's animalistic side is. So it can be quite piggy, it can be quite dark, it can be quite taboo. Sagittarians, I've talked about this previously in a dark-sided video that I did on Sagittarians. Sagittarians, it's very difficult, and a lot of people have been burned very, very badly from them. They will fuck anything that moves, right? So it's just it's in their nature. If you meet a Sagittarian that isn't like that, it would mean that there would be more grounding in their natal chart, in their moon or in their rising placement, because that's not what a Sagittarian incarnated here to do. That's not what the soul of a Sagittarius came here to do, was to play safe. Sagittarians are ultimately, within myself, just speaking personally, I'm only looking for truth. Okay, so when you step before me and we're looking at each other and I'm looking you in the eyeball, I'm looking for you to show me the real you. All right, so this isn't about you putting your best foot forward and showing other people the version that you want them to see. This isn't about you sugarcoating things. The real thing, life is like the reality of life is brutal. That's why a lot of Sagittarians have always go for religious or cult leaders or a teacher or a lecturer. They are trying to understand the really heavy, deep shit, the blueprint, the codes, the cheat codes of life. All right, so that's what they're after. So if you come before a Sagittarian and you're fake and you're phony, or you don't know who you are, much like Scorpio, which is the other sign that was connected to Sagittarians, it's that Sagittarians learn a lot from Scorpions. Stop wasting their time. They're not interested in made up shit. They want the truth, because in my mind and in my heart, there is no religion higher than truth. If you are dishonest with yourself, then you're going to be dishonest with me. Because in myself, I know that a person can't build a kitchen first and then build a house around the kitchen. That's not how a house is created. So when I meet people and their core being isn't grounded in them owning their truth and owning who they are, owning their sexuality, owning how they impact other people, you are utterly, completely worthless to the Sagittarian. They would see you as a piece of shit on the side of the road. They would have nothing to do with you. They would want nothing to do with you because you're not telling the fucking truth. All right? This is also why Sagittarians, why we get a very bad rap, because we are the ones that can't not say it. We have to say it. If you're pissing us off, we're going to tell you. If you're too clingy, we're going to tell you. If you're just annoying, we're just going to remove you. Where you're trying to drag them or bring the Sag or bring me a lot of the time, I will not accept it, because I won't accept a life that I do not deserve. And if you're not in a vibration that can help me expand, I would see that as you holding me back from experiencing life. That's why you don't really get a Sagittarius as a loving, caring, married, monogamous partner. Very rarely would you get that. That is not what they came here for. They're not going to do that. They may say that they want that, and they may even project that to the outside world, but it's not how it works. A perfect example of this dark side of Sagittarius, which I've seen before, and I check myself all the time, I'm always checking in with myself, is that I understand that you cannot give something that you don't have. So if I give someone spiritual counseling, or if I give someone advice on any level of the being, if I'm not in alignment with that myself first within me, then I should shut the fuck up and sit down. And then maybe in time, if I've done the work and I've had that level of experience, I can make a comment on that. That's why Sagittarians should never comment on something that they don't understand or that they have not experienced. And if you are with a Sagittarian or you're listening now, Sagittarians want to experience everything. Variety is the spice of life. Some people will slut shame a Sagittarius. They don't care. That's just who they are. It's just what they enjoy. And if a Sagittarian is shy, or if they've got like a Virgo moon or a Cancer moon or a Cancer rising or something like that, they will have incredible love affairs within their mind with people if they can't create them in the physical world. All right. So a perfect example, back to just giving you off the top of my head, I really like listening to a lot of intellectual giants. I love listening to people that have very different perspectives to me. I love listening to absolute nonsense. You know, I'm the type of guy that will watch a documentary and then I'll watch Mean Girls. I'll watch something that's just silly because I need that perspective of both sides. I need that polarity. I need that duality, okay? So I would listen to people like Andrew Tate, who is a Sagittarius. He shares a lot of almost the same exact natal chart that I actually have myself, okay? Venus in Scorpio, right? This is a man that is in his masculine, but projects to the outside world this kind of alpha money-making machine, telling you the truth, very loyal about power. But at the same time, the hypocritical side to him is that he actually built the foundations of his wealth off exploitation of women that he himself would say he wouldn't really want to marry, but he'll fuck them and play with them like a toy. So there is a hypocritical side to Sagittarian, to a Sagittarius. Okay, so Sagittarians always have to watch that. They've always got to be in check with that. And recently he came out and has admitted that and said, you know, this is what I did. Yes, I did this to make my first few million. And then, of course, once you get a few million, you buy property. That property value increases. So you just need to, getting your start is the hardest part, like anything, particularly if you want to be rich. Now, Sagittarians like myself, we understand that I don't want tons and tons of things when you get older. Okay, it's not about keeping up with the Joneses. It's not about living in a projection of something that isn't in alignment. When you get older and you realize you don't have a family and you don't have connection to people, you have failed. Something is wrong with you and something has gone wrong. That's not what a human came here to do. Humans need family and connection, whether they create the family with very close people that they can get around them, that can see them, hear them, and understand them, or the Sagittarius needs to sow its seed, or a human needs to do this, as procreation is also replication. This is something that I face a lot in my own life as a gay man. I'm not going to have kids, and this kills me because I have all of this knowledge and wisdom in my brain, and I feel like, where is this going to go? How am I going to share this with the world? So I have to find other ways and other outlets to create that need in a way that can kind of get met indirectly if I can't meet the need directly, yeah? So perhaps I will make this a part 1 and come back and do a part 2. I'm not sure. We're sitting at 24 minutes. I wanted to keep this video reasonably tight. But yes, Sagittarians are looking for truth and they tend to be accurate. and they do it in a very brutal way. So when they say, if you ask them, how do I look? And you've gained weight, the Sagittarian is going to tell you, you look like you've gained weight and you look fat. To a Sagittarius, they would think nothing of it. They'd be like, yep, let's go have dinner. But they don't understand. And that's why a lot of you've got to get very tactless, or their tactlessness of not owning that level of brutality can be very, very hard on people. And this is why people run from Sagittarians, because when you hide something from them, they can just see straight through it. They can see the truth. They're looking for the truth. I'm like myself, I'm like a fucking laser beam for truth. Okay, so if you've built a family, or if you've built a world on something that isn't real, then I'm going to tell you that. Now, this is where it gets tricky and unbelievably painful and somewhat dangerous. One of the things that I learned in my mid to late 30s was, just because you know the truth doesn't mean you should always say the truth. All right? Not everyone can handle reality on a level that Sagittarius can. They can't. All right? So if someone has built a world around something that isn't real, like, for example, a closeted man that's had a wife and kids and a family, that level of selfishness would repulse a Sagittarian, because what they've done is they've wasted their wife's life away in a relationship where they don't even really want her. They're not even that attracted to her. They're just living in a world that is false. And so this isn't something that Sagittarius would take lightly, and it's something that is very serious. It's not something you can play down. When people hold back parts of themselves and repress parts of themselves and deny and deflect parts of themselves, it starts to show. It starts to kind of come out sideways. All right? So building something that isn't real always has an effect. Sagittarians are all about cause and effect. And denying nature and denying reality is super dangerous. For example, if I was to hold a weight above my foot and drop that weight, in my mind's eye, what do I think is going to happen here? It's going to smash my foot. So saying that it won't smash my foot would be insane, because it's denying that of what is. Any level of denying something, this is where we get mad. This is where we get agitated, because it feels unfair. It feels like someone's bypassing something that is going to happen either way. All right. So that's one of the many things that I'm going to share in this chat. Sagittarians in the angelic realm, when I look at them from the perspective of an angel, a lot of them look very angelic in their face. You may have noticed that in some of them. They have a light that comes out of their eyes. Now, in the occult world, I was asked in previous videos about certain things. One of them was, what star sign did I think that the angel Samael or Lucifer would be? Lucifer would be a Sagittarius. And that makes perfect sense to me, and it always has, because he is about wisdom. And Lucifer, it is said that he was the most wisest angel of all of the angels. His wisdom was beyond any being in existence. And so for that level of expansion of the mind, of course pride would come into it. Of course intellectual arrogance would come into it. That is also very connected to the Sagittarians. A lot of Sagittarians, and a very big pitfall of them, other than the hypocritical side to them that they have, is also that they become somewhat of an intellectual snob. And in my defense and in their defense, this is something that comes up a lot around them because obviously it comes across that way, but Sagittarians understand that all beings are on different levels of consciousness. We're not all on the same level. So, and I've also done videos pertaining to that in an explanation of it, exactly of that, which is that there are eagles and then there are pigeons. An eagle is a bird of prey, okay, that can fly beyond any other being in the world. It has the gift of the bird's eye view, okay? And then it has the loneliness that comes with that level of power. And then a pigeon is like an NPC, a non-playing character. It doesn't perform in the world on a level because it can't be an eagle because it's not an eagle. It relies on groupthink, living with other, birds are of its own thing, kind of a scrap type animal or a messenger, a communicator. There is a spiritual side to the pigeon, and just as there is a spiritual side to the eagle, but they are not the same. They're not on the same playing field. They're nowhere near each other. So that's also how humans are as well in the mind. Sagittarians live in the mind. If you truly have a Sagittarius man or woman that you want to keep in a relationship, you have to do exactly that. You have to keep them there. Otherwise, hypergamy is going to come straight into it. If you don't know what hypergamy is, you'll understand that it's the bigger, better option. We're hardwired that way, particularly for women in survival and procreation, always looking for the bigger, better deal. Always looking for an experience that one person couldn't provide. So you kind of get them as best friends that you go through life with them, experiencing the spice markets of life, experiencing the kinkiness of life, the taboo of life, biting into that fruit because sin just tastes so fucking good. Burying your face in a ripe armpit and smelling what a man smells like, much like Taurus. It's primal, all right? So Lucifer would be a Sagittarius, absolutely. An angelic being that is super beautiful, beyond like human, one of the most beautiful signs other than Pisces, and there's a couple of others there as well in the mix that are the most beautiful signs. They've got the most beautiful symmetrical faces. If it's a male Sagittarian, they've got really beautiful big hands that can touch you and heal you. Nice, straight, kind of bucky teeth. A lot of Sagittarians, their eyes, their energy, they're just charged with fucking life, much like the Aries. Aries have the big blue eyes, the baby eyes looking at the world. Sagittarian is the philosopher, all right? So in the astrology, just keeping it simple, in the fire signs, we had Aries, which is the baby, the blue-eyed baby. They've got a whole universe inside their eyes. Then we have the next stage in the fire signs, which is the Leo, which is the adolescent, the teenager, the me, it's all about me, the ego, the I am. And then we have myself, the mind of an 80-year-old or a 400-year-old human in a fucking 32-year-old human or a 38-year-old human, whatever. Years, an old soul, way beyond their time. Many, many incarnations have come before me. And that is the three stages of the fire signs. So Sagittarius is the angel, the temperance, the balance, the equilibrium of light and dark, and the light bringer, the bringer of truth, because nothing is higher than truth. Truth can be very, very dangerous if someone isn't ready to handle that. And then you've got the animal, which is wanting to fuck. It wants to hunt. It wants to go out into the world and be primal and have really fucking wild sex. It wants to be balls deep up inside you, fucking you and looking you in the eye when it's doing it and owning you. and putting its seed inside of you. The animal, that is an animalistic primal thing. Okay, that's the lower chakras in the meridians in the body. It's down in the dick or in the clit. All right, so predictability in the bedroom with the Sag and the animal side, absolutely take that off the table. It's not going to happen. Swinger parties, three-ways, polyamorous, all very much rooted in the need to keep things spicy. Even if the person isn't a Sagittarius and they may have their Mars in Sag or they may have their Venus in Sag, that's where the passion and the love is in the sign, then in their chart, then that's what you'll get in that relationship, even if it is with a Virgo or a Cancer. Okay. And then you have the human, which is me here. I have to physically, yes, like I can go out into space and go really deep into my imagination and be very creative and go into this kind of primal state that wants to sometimes be violent. I want to be punched in the face. I want to wrestle and tumble with another man like a fucking lion. I want to headbutt someone. I want them to headbutt me. I want to feel the rush of life. I don't want to be in an office. I don't want to be sedated. I don't want to be told what to do. Lucifer and Sagittarius is all about rebellion, rebelling against rules, destroying rules. Kali Ma, Kali. Okay, it's not about building stuff. It's about destroying the old ways and building new ways. Of course, this has a dark side if it's unbalanced, because if we just have freedom for freedom's sake, then everything collapses. And that would be the dark side or the satanic side of the Sagittarius anyway. But I'm just acknowledging it here in this chat, all right? So they're the three sides to the Sagittarian. And that's really where they operate from. So if you can't sustain them, if you can't keep them interested, if you're not working hard to be not to be in yourself, but to be your most authentic self, then the Sagittarian will more than likely ghost you. Now, at some point, everyone has been ghosted by a Sagittarian. A lot of Sagittarians, they are very transient anyway. So it's kind of like easy come, easy go. A lot of them have the avoid attach style dynamic with relationships. So we know that there are attachment styles. The avoid or attach style is a very bad one, and it's a very common one for the Sagittarians anyway. So it's very difficult to be around them if you're wanting to keep them around. Okay, because it's all about in relationships. I've talked about this before. Relationships and human chemistry is not something that you can, put on a whiteboard and do some kind of mathematical fucking equation. It's very energy based. It's very abstract. It's very primal. So it's not. It's instant. It's an instant thing there. All right. When I meet someone and I'm attracted to them, it's a very instant thing. When I'm looking at something visually as an artist or just as a man, I'm very visual. If it excites me visually, then it does. But if it doesn't and the spark isn't there, then it's just not there. It isn't going to happen. And it's not something you can intellectualize connection with the Sag. Yes, you have to be fucking smart, but you have to have like a star quality to you. That's what really keeps them around, the mysteriousness of them. So the mysteriousness of a Capricorn or a Scorpio would keep a Sagittarian around. And the Libra would love the Sagittarians because Sagittarians are just fucking leaders and we're just out here being innovative as fuck. And the Libra is a little bit more stepped back and reserved. They get that connection from the Sag being out there with the sword, fighting the good fight. Much like Aries. Aries are good protectors. They're truth tellers. Now I have in my chart an Aries moon. So I'm all about, here's an idea, let's fucking go. Here's an idea, let's get going. Let's run with that. as I've gotten older, I've had more time to sit back, process, breathe, think, assess, research, then we make a public chat, then we express our opinions. All right. So this is 39 minutes. I'm really enjoying talking. I'm really enjoying talking about this. It's been fun. I'm going to go put on the kettle. I'm going to have a cup of tea, think about a few more things, and then I'm going to come back for another chat, and I will continue a part 2 of what it is like to have this level of placement in a Sagittarius within myself, because I'm speaking from personal experience, and that's of course the best place where anyone can speak from is from their own truth. So I will leave it here, and I'll see you in part 2. I will upload that shortly. Okay, see you in part 2.